Hey guys, so this is the battery comparison you have been waiting for. We have all the latest hot devices right over here, like the Oneplus 7 Pro, Huawei P30 Pro, Sony Xperia 1, the Mate 20X 5G version, the Pixel 3 AXL, the Huawei P30 set and an iPhone XS Max. So I would say, let's jump right in. So guys, before we are kicking off this battery comparison, it's really important to check out the settings to make this as fair as possible. So we'll start with the Huawei smartphones to adjust the settings. And first of all, on the Huawei, we're choosing the settings here in display that we go to screen resolution and we switch away from smart to full HD+. So Huawei is a real battery monsters and will use the full potential resolution on the smartphone. Then we have the Oneplus 7 Pro. The Oneplus 7 Pro has the most amazing screen ever. It's 90 Hz, it's super smooth, and that's also one of the reasons why people are buying the Oneplus 7 Pro. That's why we're going to use 90 Hz, so we'll keep the refresh rate on that one, and the resolution, we'll switch it to full HD Plus and not QHD. I mean, I think that's kind of fair. The same goes here on the next Huawei. So if we go here to the settings, to display settings, we are going to switch the screen resolution to full HD Plus. On the Sony Xperia 1, so far as I know, there is no setting for that. Not sure if I have the latest version or not, but please correct me if I'm wrong. Same for the iPhone, same for the Pixel. So we also have to do that on the Mate 20X. So we're switching away here from smart resolution to full HD Plus. So now it's kind of fair, but still, all the displays have different brightness levels, so we have to level them. And for that, we're using here digital lux meter. It's from Peak Tech and it's a pretty accurate one. So I'll quickly measure all the brightness levels and set them to an equal brightness level. So that's basically very easy. I open up the Google page here on all the smartphones. So it's basically a white page where I can measure the brightness. And there we go, no thanks, no thanks. And all I have to do is just hold the lux meter over it and then just press the hold button and then I can get the value. So right now we're having 180 lux. I will set it to something around 200, 220 for all of them and just give me a second until this is done. So as you can see, all the displays are now looking different. Because they all have different display technologies, like we have mostly OLEDs, but also one LCD in the P30, they all have different peak brightness and different color spaces. So what we do right now is bring them all to the same brightness level, which I have calibrated at 200 lux. That's really important to keep this comparison as fair as possible, and it may look a bit different on the screen, but that's due to the viewing angles and my wide-angle camera lens. So guys, now it's time to kick off this amazing battery comparison. We'll now disconnect all the phones from the charger, so just give me a second until this is done. And then we're starting with a first Antutu round, so we're doing benchmarks 3 times in a row and check out the results of it. So there we go. All the phones are now unplugged from their chargers. Let's put away the cables and then we are ready for the action. So well, let's hit the start button on the watch and there we go. The stopwatch is running, so the time is now running and yeah, let's do this. So there we go. All the smartphones are right now on the same brightness level. Maybe it looks a little bit different, but this is from the angle of the camera and the different displays. But first of all, as I've told you guys, we are starting the Antutu benchmark on all the phones. And there we go. So I did 3 Antutu benchmarks in a row and it was no surprise that the Oneplus 7 Pro with its clean ROM, 12 GB of RAM and the powerful Snapdragon 855 has taken the lead with around 370 to 380k points. The Xperia 1 Snapdragon brother was a bit more far away with a maximum of 330k because of less RAM and less optimized software. And then we got the P30 in with over 300k points with its 7nm Kirin 980, and the Mate 20X was a bit more far away because of less RAM and also very early software. Then we got the iPhone followed by the Pixel, and in the lowest spot we got the budget smartphone, the P30 set with its Kirin 710. After that I did some Insta browsing and at the 1 hour mark it was time to check the battery stats. The Pixel dropped 10% to 90, same for the 20X. The iPhone dropped to 78%, which is really bad, and then we got the Xperia 1 with 86%, the P30 with 91%, the 7 Pro with 86, and then the P30 Pro, which has a lot of apps on it since it's my daily, at around 89%. Good results so far, except of the iPhone. At the 1 hour 30 mark I switched away from Insta to 1 hour of gaming. I've chosen Formula 1 as this game also exists on the iPhone. Here the iPhone really struggled. The game was laggy and it dropped a massive 27% during 1 hour gaming, while the other phones only dropped 14 to 15% on average. The game is really graphic intense and it seems like the iPhone doesn't handle it very well. The Pixel was performing the best with its Snapdragon 670 by only dropping 12%. After gaming, I switched to the camera, and this part is quite interesting. All phones except of the P Smart set are capable of 4K 30 recording, so the P Smart was the only one that did 1080 in this test. The Huawei's have a 10-minute lock on 4K, same as the Oneplus 7 Pro. The Pixel and the Xperia have no 10-minute lock and record whatsoever, same as the iPhone. After not even 15 minutes, the Xperia already started to pop up warnings that it is too hot and needs to cool down, and then just stopped recording in 4K and closed the camera. It's kinda weird, as this is the same for my Alpha 7 or any other Sony camera I used in the past. Also the other phones do 4K and use Sony sensors, but do not have this warning. So either it's overprotection or there is simply something strange. Anyway, after 30 minutes rear camera and 30 minutes front camera, the iPhone was pretty much almost dead with 22%, while almost all the other phones have been close to the 50% mark. Now it was time for some YouTube 1080p playback. All have been set to this resolution and the Xperia could have done 4K, but I've also chosen here 1080p. After 1 hour of YouTube playback with 50% sound, the iPhone simply gave up and died. So the iPhone XS Max only reached 4 hours and 15 minutes, which is from my standards not acceptable. In normal use I for sure do not game and record a lot of 4K, so it's better, but compared to the competition it simply sucks. Then we did 30 minutes more Instagram and 30 minutes 4K recording. And now the Xperia 1 was close to the 15% mark. 1 hour later the Xperia 1 also died. 6 hours and 25 minutes for the Xperia with the 855 and 4K screen. So that's a pretty decent value, to be honest. I hope for some more battery optimizing features, but so far it is doing good, keeping in mind the hardware. 30 minutes later also the P Smart set and the P30 died. The P Smart performs really good for a really cheap budget phone with 6 hours and 43 minutes, and my P30 Pro would have lasted longer, but it has all the apps on it, a SIM card on standby, and it's been used as my daily since the release. But still I wanted to include it to see if the battery still holds up, and it does with also 6 hours and 40 minutes. Now the last 30 minutes have been a close battle between the Pixel, the 20X and the Oneplus. But in the end, the Pixel rocked the show, followed closely by the 20X and the 7 Pro, who died at the same time with around 7 hours and 49 minutes. The Pixel lasted 4 minutes longer at 7 hours and 53 minutes. This is really something I would not have imagined. I now made a curve so we can check out the battery drain over time. So guys, when you check the curves, then you can see that the Android devices have a pretty similar curve. But the iPhone was far away from that. When we check the 50% area of the Android devices, then we have something like 200 to 245 minutes. But the iPhone fell down to 50% over 1 hour earlier. Also below 50%, we can usually see steeper curves as the battery drains here faster. On the iPhone it looked more like the Twin Towers collapsing on 9/11. And I truly think that the Xperia could have more potential with better optimization for that screen. Also the P30 Pro would have done better if it was a brand new unit. But hey, I'm not rich and I need to use what I get. So let me know what screen on times you're getting on your phone. As always guys, big thanks for watching and please like this video if you liked it. So it really took me over 20 hours to film and edit this video, so I would really appreciate a sub if you want to see more. Big thanks for watching, I'm Steven from Tech Magnet and I'll catch you in the next one. Have a nice day and bye.